Hey guys, Abby here. I am here to do an updated foundation routine, how I go through the process of putting on my makeup that I do before I start any tutorials, and also give you some suggestions and show you different products you can use that I have tried and tell you what I use them for, because I do use all of my foundations and primers and powders and concealers that I have. They don't just sit. I use them every once in a while for different things. So first we're going to talk primer. I don't have a lot of face primers. I do have two though. I have the Hard Candy Sheer Envy primer, and I have the e.l.f. Mineral face primer. I reach for the Hard Candy a little more. Why? There's not really a lot of difference that I see in application the difference between these two. This is a little more oily. This is a little more like kind of powdery soft, I guess. It doesn't go to a powder, but feels powdery soft. Um, but when I get done with this, I don't have a lot left. I'm gonna just be using this on a steady basis. But so we're going to start with that portion. What I do is I squeeze off my amount on my hand. I use about this much or a little less. And I use a synthetic, this is actually made for primer. So I take that and I just brush it all over my face. Really focusing on areas that I have larger pores or problem areas that I want my foundation to apply smoother. I focus a little more on that. This works better in corners and in tighter spaces. But like as for the rest, I'll just kind of slather it on. And I have been having trouble with my skin lately, so you'll get to see a lot more concealer in this video because of those troubles that I've been having. Okay, so once you're done with that, I next go to concealer. A lot of people do concealer last, but this is just my personal preference. My combination of choice that I've used the most and tried the most, I used to swear by NYX concealer in a jar, but I felt like that started to make my face itch, and it was just like a little too cakey. But I use MAC's Studio Finish Concealer in NC20. And I use Hard Candy's Glamouflage. I've really been loving this. But what I do first is I take the pencil. It is a little bit more of a yellow tone, but I find that if you take this pencil, put it over the very red blemishes that you have, it makes it a little easier to conceal those areas. Or acne scarring, things like that. But I just put a little bit on it and just kind of dab it a little bit into the area. So after that is all finished, I take my Glamouflage from Hard Candy, put a little teeny tiny drop on my hand, like not even pea-sized, because this goes a long way and it has excellent coverage, especially for your acne. And then I take that same brush that I used on the primer and I just tap over those blemishes very softly, because you don't want to cause more irritation to the red spot, and you also want to have the best coverage possible. And if you wipe it away too much, like with brush strokes, then you lose a lot of the concealer on top of the blemish. So I just pat, and it looks funky now, like, are you crazy? But I will be blending that out. So again, we just keep going on your troublesome areas. Another problem that I have with my skin is a lot of redness. So, and I haven't explored many green concealers, so I don't use one in my routine right now. Just kind of make do with what I have. Okay, now that I have that portion done, I'm going to blend it in a little better. I use the eyeshadow blending brush. This is the Studio Tools, and I blend the corners. I don't really blend a lot over the blemish because, again, you don't want to lose your coverage. So I just blend areas in a circular motion, and it pretty much works in doing what I need it to do. Okay. Then I use my MAC Studio Finish. I kind of just tap my finger in it and get any of the redness and just blend this nicely. Around the nose. The bridge of my nose. This cheek is always redder than the other, so I pat a little down the cheek. And you will always look funky before you put your foundation on. That's why I like to do my concealer after my foundation, is because it seems to even everything out. And this is also using the MAC. This helps me build a little bit on those problem areas. So I can just build the coverage up a little bit, and if you want to, just blend the corners out just a touch more. Okay. So once we have done that, I'm going to do in my under eye concealer. I use e.l.f.'s Under Eye Concealer and Highlighter from their Studio line. I am in Fair. I don't really like any other under eye concealers. Haven't really branched out to try anymore, because I am satisfied with the coverage that I get in this and the wear that I have in this. And I just put some on the under eyes. I usually don't put this many marks, but I'm getting to kind of the bottom of the barrel on that concealer, so I just put a bunch. But I just tap it lightly underneath my eyes. You don't want to pull and tug at your under eyes, because that will cause more dark circles. And if you have puffy under eyes, they say putting something cold on it helps very much with that. And you always want to use a thinner concealer for your under eyes, because it's a lot easier to work with. It's not going to pull in your eyes and things like that. So for concealer for the under eyes, get something liquid and not something like MAC Studio Finish or the Glamouflage. Then we go to the foundation. I have some choices in foundation, a range, and I will tell you what I use each of these for. First, you have a tinted moisturizer. This style is going to provide low coverage. It's going to be very light on the skin, so you want to use something like this maybe in the summer, or when you are having very clear skin and you want your skin to shine through the most, you want to use something like a tinted moisturizer. This does have SPF in it, so you will be covered in that range. Next is an active makeup. This is the Revlon Color Stay Active makeup. This is claiming to be sweat proof. I use this a lot the times during the summer. This does have SPF, and it looks and feels fresh all day. So that is something you would want to use like in the summer, or if you have a job where you work vigorously, things like that. And then we have the Revlon Photo Ready. I have not reviewed this. I haven't used it that many times, but it does compare to the Colorstay. But this does have the shimmers in it that when you take photos, your face looks better and it doesn't white out very much. This I pretty much use at special occasions where I think I'm going to have my pictures taken, or anytime that I want to take my pictures, I use this. It has the same amount of coverage and the same wear. I haven't really tested it out a lot because I don't get a lot of wear in my makeup lately because I haven't been wearing it to babysitting, but I will be testing this out more, but that's what this would be used for. And then what I'm going to be using today is my Revlon Colorstay. This isn't in the container that it comes in, but I mixed two shades together. This is one of my favorite makeups that I've ever used. I just put the amount that I want on the back of my hand, and what I use is a stippling brush. This is a Studio Tools dual fiber stippling brush, and I just take it and I stipple it, get a little bit of the product on, and I stipple it all over my face. This pretty much hasn't changed since my last foundation routine video, but I kind of wanted to go through how I apply this a little more because I did get a question from a friend on Twitter. She's here on YouTube too. Her handle is Lucky Charms. I will put her link down below. But what I do is I stipple it on my whole face first. And then I just blend it in circular motions. You do not want to use long strokes because then you will get streaking, but I just blend it nicely in circle motions down to my chin and my neck, making sure you blend into the hairline as well. And I go kind of over the ears and behind the ears a little bit because I do want a flawless color and coverage. Okay, and I just go back just a little bit in the problem areas just to make sure that I have the coverage that I need. And if you see any places you may have missed or didn't get as well, you can do that. Okay, and then this isn't blended out as much as I like it to, but what I do is I go back and I take my Studio powder brush from e.l.f. and just buff it just to double check that I have no streaking, even coverage, things of that nature. Okay, the next step that we are going to be taking is powder. I have tried out 3 powders. The Complexion Perfection. What I do with this first is I just take a little bit on my powder brush, maybe 1 or 2 swirls, and I put it on my reddest areas and my problem areas. Just to even out my skin tone a little more. And then I've been using MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish in medium, and I have been trying the Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder. I have been testing this one, but for the sake of what I have been using more on a daily basis, I'm going to be using the Skin Finish Natural. And what I do is I just buff a little bit on to the powder brush, and what I do is I just press it onto my face first. And then I just kind of sweep it and blend it. And again, just go back a little bit. And just blend down the neck. Ears the same way. Then I take the same Skin Finish Natural and that same Studio Tools eye brush. And I take this and I set my under eye concealer with the same powder because I just want an even finish. And this really helps my under eyes. I just really love this finish. And then when I'm feeling, sometimes in the winter you feel very dry, and I use lots of powder. I can't lie, I do. You might want to spritz yourself with a little bit of Max Fix Plus. This does refresh your face, so what you do is you just close your eyes and spritz your face twice and just let it dry naturally. You don't need to pat it, anything like that, just let it dry naturally. And I feel like this just refreshes and just gives me that needed moisture. So I hope you guys enjoyed my foundation routine. I apologize, it was a little long, but I did that because I wanted to explain everything thoroughly and showed you guys how I achieved this look. Thanks, guys.